Hi there, my name is Holly Simonet and I am a life and health coach. I specialize in working with people who have been struggling with emotional eating, binge eating and overeating and unsure how to stop it. So firstly, I just want to let you know that if this is you and you have been struggling with one of these three things, that you're not alone. That basically 1 in 3 men and 2 in 3 women suffer from some form of disordered eating these days. Now, this shows up differently for all of us. For some of us, it looks like restricting all day and then binging late at night. So that might be cutting carbohydrates out or cutting food groups out and then unable to sustain that, having intense sugar cravings and then binging later. It can show up by overeating and eating too much, eating when you're not physically hungry, or it can be counting every single calorie. So I'm going to start by just breaking down each of those a little bit for you. This, thanks to social media and this day and age, women are feeling under more pressure than ever before to look a certain way, to have a certain body shape, and this creates a lot of stress and also tells us on a very deep psychological level that we aren't good enough how we are. So when we feel not good enough for how we are or we feel shameful, this then creates a trigger, a psychological trigger. So we then want to, because we're not good enough, we want to restrict our food and not eat, and then we literally have no self-control left and we go ahead and binge later. It can also be, one of the biggest triggers is stress. Stress shows up differently for all of us, and in this day and age we are working harder than ever before. We are trying to run families, we are trying to keep our relationships, we are trying to keep social, we are trying to work harder in our jobs and pushing every day. So when our body is under a stress response, basically, you've probably heard of cortisol before. Cortisol is our stress hormone. And when our cortisol levels are increased, when we're under stress, we need something called serotonin to bring down these cortisol levels. Now, serotonin and dopamine are our 2 happy hormones. Serotonin acts in the way it makes us feel happy, and dopamine makes us feel very safe and secure. So when we eat sugar or carbohydrates, because let's face it, when we emotionally eat, we don't do it with a salad, right? But so when we emotionally eat, we're eating these heavy, sugary, carby foods. And what that gives us, it gives us a response of dopamine and serotonin, a hit of both of these things, which then in turn brings down our stress levels, our cortisol levels. Now, this doesn't last very long because it also affects our blood sugar. And you're probably aware with how when we eat certain carbohydrates and sugary foods, these high glycemic index foods, it spikes our blood sugar quite high, and then not too long after it will drop us pretty low. When our blood sugar crashes, we are going to want to have more sugary foods. So our blood sugar is doing this all day, our blood sugar and our insulin. And this is why so many people who are overeating sugar are moving towards type 2 diabetes. So stress. This is another trigger massively for emotional eating. Stress can come in differently for everyone. For some people it can be traumas from past experiences that they haven't moved through and done the work to move through. For some people it can be work stress or relationship stress, or it could be a family member's died. They could have moved over to another country and feeling unsupported because they've moved away from their support network. So there are multiple reasons that can be stress causing for emotional eating. The eating is just a cover. It's just a message. If you can imagine that there's a message in this mess, and that if you can go and do the work and uncover what is under the surface, what's bubbling under the surface for you, then you will fix your emotional eating. Because when your life is so juicy, you do not need to get juice out of food. You feel so good as it is. That's basically the bricks of it. So as a coach, I coach people to get into the unconscious, to get into these areas of their life and do little cleanups. That can mean finances and facing and doing a budget and looking at debt. And it can also mean relationships. It can also mean there might be a dream in there stuck inside that you're too scared to realize. So for each and every one of us, it's different. However, us humans, we only have a limited number of patterns. So I've pretty much seen every realm of this over the last few years since doing this work. And if you're watching this and you resonate with this and you're feeling like this is something that you would like to do, please let Micah or one of the girls on reception know, and it would be my pleasure and my honor to work with you one-on-one and get to the bottom of what's happened. It happens pretty quickly. Within about 3 to 4 sessions, your life can be literally unrecognizable to you. It's pretty cool. So I hope to see you soon, and bye for now.